We're joined now in studio for an exclusive interview by President Trump's new White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus. Reince, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Good morning, Chris.
I want to start with Sean Spicer's extraordinary press briefing late yesterday afternoon where he excoriated reporters for their stories about the relative crowd size at the Trump inauguration and said they should instead be talking about Democratic delays to the confirmation of Trump nominees. Here he is.
That's what you guys should be writing and covering. That this, instead of sowing division about tweets and false narratives. The president is committed to unifying our country, and that was the focus of his inaugural address. This kind of dishonesty in the media, the challenging that bringing about our nation together is making it more difficult.
Then Spicer walked out without taking a single question from reporters. Reince, President Trump said in his inaugural address that every decision he makes will be to benefit American families. How does arguing about crowd size do that?
Because it's really not about crowd size. What it's about is honesty in the media. What it's about is from day one after winning this election and President Trump talking about bringing America together, having a unified American public around unified ideas, not Republican or Democrat. He's ready to get to work. However, the media from day one has been talking about delegitimizing the election, talking about the Russians, talking about everything you can imagine except the fact that we need to move this country forward. Now, we get done with the inauguration. First thing out of the media is that President Trump removed the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. out of the Oval Office. This is an explosive accusation, which could have had incredible ramifications given the history of the press on this subject matter. Turns out that it was completely false. I walked back into the Oval Office, saw the MLK bust there, and what did the media say? The media said, oh, our bad, someone was standing in front of the bust, we didn't see it. Can you imagine tweeting that President Trump removed the MLK bust? So that's the first day, day one. Not even, I mean, day like hour 3. Then the next day, they put a picture, it was a big story, before the speech actually began, showing all of this white space. Wasn't true. The New York Times then put a picture in the middle section showing the fact that the entire mall was completely full. The point is not the crowd size. The point is the attacks and the attempt to delegitimize this president in one day. And we're not going to sit around and take it. Sean's been doing press briefings every single day. This was a press...
this is his first one at the White House podium.
Press update. His first official press briefing for Q&A, and the press can ask him a million questions, is going to be on Monday.
You talk about honesty and say that this was about honesty. Well, there's another issue here, though, Reince, and that is the president's honesty, because two things that he said yesterday were just flat wrong, and I want to talk about them. First, crowd size. I'm going to put up, take a look at these pictures. We got monitors here.
There's another picture.
Let's take a look at those pictures. On the left, you've got the Obama inaugural crowd. On the right, you've got the Trump inaugural crowd. Which one is bigger?
Listen, you're also not saying that picture was taken before he was even speaking. I mean, I can take a picture of the mall.
I was there in the mall. I mean, let me say, first of all, I think this is a ridiculous conversation.
Right.
But there were huge areas. He said that there were crowds all the way to the Washington Monument.
There was.
Right?
I was sitting there. Yes, there was. I was sitting there looking.
Look, I mean, you know what? Put up the picture again.
This is,
folks, put up the
picture again. You can keep putting the picture up, but I can take a picture of, look, wait a second. I can take an aerial picture right now, Chris. And I can say, look at the difference. If you're not comparing apples to apples, it doesn't matter.
I'm telling you that there were huge
you can keep telling me what you want to tell me.
All right,
the point is that instead of talking about the substance of what President Trump
you're the ones who did it.
said.
He could have given wait a minute. He could have given a news conference yesterday, talked about the agenda, talked about the signing, the executive actions he's going to sign, his legislative agenda. He talks about crowd size. Let me ask you about one other.
Wait a minute. Let's back up. We didn't tweet out that MLK Jr.'s bust was removed from the Oval Office. We didn't.
The reporter made a mistake. Wait a minute. The reporter made a mistake. He apologized, and Spicer sent him a tweet back saying, "Apology accepted."
Right. So these are the mistakes that are made. A reporter shoots first, aims later. I think the magnitude.
Are you saying there's a conspiracy here?
I'm saying there's an obsession by the media to delegitimize this president. And we are not going to sit around and let it happen. We are going to fight back tooth and nail every day and twice on Sunday.
Okay, let me talk about another thing. Mr. Trump said at the CIA that talk of a feud between him and the intelligence community was a media invention. Reince, it was Donald Trump at his news conference in New York who compared what the leaking of the Russia dossier, said it was the intelligence community who had done it, it was a disgrace, and compared it to Nazi Germany. That was not a media invention.
We don't know who leaked the document, Chris.
But wait a minute, that's beside the point. Mr. Trump said compared it to Nazi Germany.
Listen, someone leaked the document. Someone leaked the document. And you don't know if it wasn't someone in the intelligence community, but some bad actor. The point is this. One bad actor in the intelligence community doesn't taint President Trump's view of the entire intelligence community. I was there yesterday. I'm telling you, it was a love fest if you were in the room. These are men and women that President Trump loves and respects. And the reason he went there first was to tell them, I don't want you to believe the media that I don't respect you all as intelligence officers and heroes.
It's not the media.
Country.
It's what he said.
Because there has been a created... No, but it's also an obsession. I mean, the fact is, we didn't leak the document. That Russian document...
You don't know that the intelligence community... Did Mr. Trump...
You don't know that they didn't.
I know, but the point is, it was Mr. Trump who compared it to Nazi Germany.
Well, listen, what is it? I mean, if you have confidential, top-secret information being leaked to the public, you tell me...
Germany.
Well, it's something that's pretty rotten. And I think we can... Okay, well, good.
Okay.
And the other thing I'd say is that speech yesterday at the CIA, this obsession over what he said in front of the memorial wall, what he's trying to explain to the folks there, but I'll tell you what, these were people who, after we got done with these meetings, it was very clear to the president that they wanted to do their job. They're ready to go, but something's holding them back.
What do you think of John Brennan calling it a despicable display?
I think that John Brennan has a lot of things that he should answer for in regard to these leaked documents. I find the whole thing despicable. I think that it's unprofessional. I think perhaps he's bitter. You know, he was replaced the day before. He was not asked to hold over like Clapper was. I don't know what's in his head. But what I do know is that the president wanted to make clear to the folks in that room, and I want to make this clear for everyone why we talked about the things we talked about, is he wanted to say, look, what I went through the last 2 days with the MLK bust, the attack on the crowd size instead of the substance of what I was talking about, is in the same way what you've been hearing about me in the intelligence community. Don't believe it. I love you. I want to work with you, and we're going to be a great team.
All right, let's move forward. Hundreds of thousands of people, mostly women, marched on Washington yesterday and across the country to protest Trump policy. Here's a taste of that.
The platform of hate and division assumed power yesterday. But the president is not America.
Do not try to divide us. If you force Muslims to register, we will all register as Muslims.
Now, President Trump's Twitter was alive and awake at 7:47 this morning. He wrote this: watch protests yesterday, but was under impression that we just had an election. Why didn't these people vote? Celebs hurt cause badly. First of all, what is his reaction to the fact that so many people, maybe 1 million people, marched across the country and expressed real concern that he's going to roll back women's rights?
Well, first of all, I can tell you President Trump wants to be president for all people, including every one of those marchers yesterday. And I think over time, I think many of those people are going to be very proud of this president. But secondly, it's no different than what happened right after the election. I mean, there's the same marchers that showed up on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. And the last thing is, in regard to some of these folks from Hollywood and elsewhere, I mean, some of the things that were said yesterday, I'm not going to give the person any credit, but one of the actors said that, or one of the singers said she wanted to blow up the White House. I mean, can you imagine saying that about President Obama?
It was terrible.
Or that, you know, this person's doesn't represent America. He sure does. And the American people are looking for someone that is going to be their voice in the White House, not another plasticized Washington predictable politician. That's why President Trump is there, because people wanted someone that was genuine, with a pure heart, that is going to make the difference. And yes, be authentic and real, which this town isn't used to.
Let's turn to what he's going to actually be doing this week. Monday, he says, is his first full day of work, although he's already done quite a lot already. Do you know what executive actions he's going to sign tomorrow and this week? And specifically, is he going to undo DACA, the Obama executive action that deferred deportation for the 700,000 so-called dreamers who were brought into this country illegally as children?
Well, on the last one, I think we're going to work with House and Senate leadership as well to get a long-term solution on that issue. But
so he won't undo DACA until
I'm not going to make any commitments today, but I obviously foreshadow there a little bit. But I think this week we're going to talk about trade. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. I think we're going to talk about immigration this week, and we're going to have a time of national security, a conversation about that, obviously with General Mattis.
Will he undo some of the Obama executive orders?
I think you're going to see more of that coming, perhaps this week, executive orders on those three topics. Thursday, we're expecting to make an appearance at the Senate and House Leadership Conference in Philadelphia. So it's going to be a full week, and this president is going to work hard. I mean, I've never seen anyone work harder and have more energy than this president.
President Trump also has an extraordinarily ambitious legislative agenda. Just want to put some of it up. From Obamacare to tax reform to building a wall to infrastructure. Curious, because one of the things that the president made clear in his inaugural address was that he was going to take the hide off the Washington establishment. Here's a clip.
Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land.
But, Reince, those folks on the platform are exactly the people he needs, congressional leaders, to pass his agenda. So how is he going to work with folks who he has just accused of having celebrated, done well for themselves, but have forgotten millions of Americans?
Well, I think that some of those folks, especially the majority in the House and the Senate, feel the same way, that they can't get their agenda done. They're blocked. Look what's happening with our cabinet. I mean, you have Mike Pompeo. You have people that we need for the security of this country that are sitting around languishing in the Senate because we can't get unanimous consent. I mean, we have 2 cabinet picks that have been sent through. It's a shameful situation that's happening in the Senate, and Senator Schumer should do something about it.
But the fact is, when he talked about the establishment in D.C. that's forgotten Americans, is he just talking about Democrats?
No, he's not. He's talking about a number of people, just enough of people here in Washington that block real things from getting done. But it's not going to be that way anymore because we have a majority in the House and the Senate. We have the tool called reconciliation. We can get a lot of things done on Obamacare and repeal and replace, both through reconciliation and through Tom Price and the Secretary of Health and Human Services. We have tax reform that we finally can get through. And working with Paul Ryan and leadership and the team that President Trump has put together has given us a formula to finally get big things done in this country.
Finally, give us a little color. How is President Trump adjusting to the White House? What were his first moments like in the Oval Office?
I think it's pretty inspiring. I think when he walked in, I think it's something that's enormous. And I think the weight of that enormity was felt by him. He's still the same person, remarkably very consistent. But I certainly think the feeling of being president, walking in that Oval Office, was something that him, obviously, but everyone that walked through there felt. The responsibility to this country and the people that put him there. He knows it, and it's in his heart, and I can promise you he wants to make people proud.
Reince, thank you. Thanks for your time on this very busy weekend, and we'll be busy just trying to keep up with all that you guys are doing at the White House.
You bet. Thank you.